World War II changed the destiny of mankind. After the end of the war, the Allies tried to rebuild the world in such a way that something like World War II would not happen again. They drew a new future for humanity based on their beliefs. Today, we live in a globalized world, and countries from they are socially and economically connected. The internet in its current form and the influence of America all over the world are both effects of decision they win the war. The question I want to answer in this article is, what would have happened if the Allies had not defeated Nazi Germany? Even a parallel world that their Reich succeeded in conquering Europe with its military power and nation building and became the winner of the World War II. What would have happened? I intend to examine the effects of the victory of the Nazis on a human and global scale and answer this question. How would this victory change the human being of the 20th and 21st centuries? In this parallel world, Nazi Germany has conquered Europe. Britain, France, Poland, the Soviet Union, and numerous other countries are all occupied by German forces. Germany succeeded in invading Britain, and with little chance of victory, despite Churchill's pledge that Britain would never surrender. The British had to choose between surrender or annihilation. In this parallel world, the Third Reich consolidates its control over the new territories it has acquired across the continent, thereby preventing any effective interference from the United States. At first, the resistance forces resisted the Germans and fascist puppet governments, such as Vichy France and the British puppet government. But after several years of trying to strengthen control over trade routes and available resources, the Third Reich particularly started the resistance forces today. In this parallel world, whenever there is a rebellion against the Germans, they slaughter innocent citizens. In the Soviet Union, the war between the Russians and the Germans becomes a war of attrition. And as the Russians are pushed back to the overall mountains, it eventually reduced to a resistance movement. Hitler invented to make a civilization that did not inherit anything from the Old West. In the idol of Hitler, the idols behind the French Revolution, that Enlightenment and Christianity lost all their credentials. The foundation of this civilization was one thing: separating and mastering a particular group, Aryan race. If Germany had won the war, they would have sorted Europe into racial hierarchies. At the top of this pyramid was the Aryan race. According to the Nazis, Aryans were people with Germanic roots. In the Nazi society, those who were of German ancestry had the highest status. The next place after the Aryans belonged to the people of Western Europe. That is the British, the people of Northern France, the Irish, and the Dutch. The Chinese and Japanese also belong to this category, as Hitler called them honorary Aryans. After the people of Western Europe, China and Japan, the next place belongs to the Mediterranean race. Southern Europeans who had tanned skins such as Italians, Southern French, Spanish and Greeks belongs to this category. Hitler believed that the people of Southern Europe are inherently lesser than the people of the North. The idea of Italians belonging inferior to Germans created a lot of tension between Mussolini and Hitler. In this parallel world, if Nazi Germany succeeds in implementing the Lebensraum policy, after a few decades the Poles, Russians and Eastern Slavs will be extinct. Tens of millions of Slavs will be killed. In this parallel world, after the victory of the Germans, the border of the countries are changed, and in the countries that used to be called Poland, Ukraine, and Russia, a new government is formed with the German leaders. Jews are immediately sent to concentration camps, where they are gradually prepared to kill them. In this parallel world, fascism is not a single and current ideology. Each country adapts fascism to its national identity. For example, France, Italy, and Spain introduced the Catholic religion to the world as their national religion. To increase the acceptance of fascism among the people, it must be connected to the ideas inherited from the past. In our world, Vichy France enacted laws aimed at neutralizing the effects of the French Revolution. In this parallel world, this will be a common occurrence in Europe under the influence of Nazism, and the beliefs of liberalism and the age of enlightenment will gradually be erased from people's minds. Now the question is, could Germany get the atomic bomb before America? Answer is no. In our world, many factors contributed to America's superiority over Germany in atomic physics. One of these advantages was American access to British and German scientists who feared the Nazis. Also, Germany could not spend as much time and money on research in the field of atomic physics as America, because all this time and money was spent on managing the war with the Soviet Union. The foreign policy of Nazi Germany was completely determined based on Hitler's beliefs and ideas. As I mentioned earlier, the Nazis classified the races from best to worst. One of the common misunderstandings is that if the Nazis had won the war, they would have become friends with the Muslims. Hitler's foreign policy was completely based on the war between Aryans and non-Aryans. Arabs are not Jews, but they are considered Semitic people, and therefore they were considered sub-Europeans by the Nazis. Nevertheless, in our world, the suffering that the Arabs suffered from the colonialism of Germany and France ended in favor of the Nazis. World War II could have ended many cultures and in its current state destroyed many parts of the planet, but it could have had a worse outcome. This war may mark a new chapter in history, a chapter in which not the Nazis, but those influenced by Hitler find a profound influence on world politics and the information of public opinion. There are several scenarios presented in this article, a handful of which are anecdotal, and if Germany had won World War II, God knows what would have happened in the future. But these things are interesting to think about in their own right.